I know we all wish that we were back in person this year. I'm going to cross my fingers that we'll definitely be back in person next year. But thank you to everybody for adjusting your schedules and everything that we've had to do. A lot of you have not had a chance to meet Dave, so we've asked Dave to sort of pop in. You can all virtually meet Dave for those of you that haven't. So Daniel, if you want to switch, I'll keep speaking for a second, but you can switch the spotlight to Dave. So Dave Harris is our ED for those of you that have not met him. And we're just going to let him say a quick few words to you guys, and then we'll move on with the technical part. And then Alan's going to cover some stuff on what happens after this tournament. Dave?
Great. Thanks, Kate. I just wanted to thank everybody and welcome you to tonight's meeting. I wanted to thank our team, Kate and Brittany and Alan, for all the hard work they've done over the last few weeks. For the officials, Daniel Park, thank you very much. And to all the officials, thank you. And specifically to the POOMSAE athletes, thank you very much for your continued participation and your continued patience with us. I know doing this event online is not the same as being in person, but it was the best that we could do under some trying circumstances. So thank you very much for being part of this. And I just want to welcome you all tonight. Thanks very much.
Daniel, all you.
So good evening, good afternoon, everyone. As mentioned by Dave and Kate, welcome back to this year's edition of our online POOMSAE Nationals. It's been just over a year since our last event. As you guys are all aware, this event we were planning to have in person, but we've had a lot of things beyond our control. So we're pleased to at least offer you this opportunity to compete and select our teams for this year, specifically for Worlds and Pan Ams. So I wanted to share with you a few things before I get into the specifics. I hope everyone's had a chance, at least by now, to have reviewed the tournament package. But if you haven't, we will cover some of the key points of that, specific to what to expect tomorrow and Sunday. So if you give me a moment, I'll share my screen. I hope everyone can see that. Maybe just a couple thumbs up. Everyone's good. Okay, excellent. These are all in either the package or the WhatsApp chat group. Everyone should join the WhatsApp chat group that's designated for the participants for this weekend. If you don't have that link is in the information package. I will point out for those who aren't aware, or rather a reminder that the Zoom links have changed. Those had to be modified, so please make note of them. They're listed on this on the screen here, but please check the WhatsApp chat group to make sure you are entering the correct room. So the previous links that you may have found earlier are not valid, so make sure that the meeting ID and the passcodes for Saturday and Sunday are what you see on the screen here. The competition is scheduled to begin at 9 a.m. on both days. So please watch please follow, number one, the W competition website. You'll find the schedule live. It'll be updated live as we go along. You can also follow along the live stream, which is on YouTube, as well as follow the chat group. Announcements will be made as to which divisions are on deck and which come up next. So we appreciate you checking before you upload a question into the chat group. So please check all those resources. So all the information can be found in various places. If you're not clear, then make sure you have all these links. So those are the Zoom links for Saturday and Sunday. We also have a note at the bottom. Please ensure that your microphone and camera are turned off when you are admitted into the Zoom room, and then we'll ask you to turn it on. Turn on both your audio and video just prior to competing. Okay, so I hope that's clear. So as I mentioned, the WhatsApp chat group, that's the link right in the first line there. So please join. You can click the hyperlink. Well, you can't actually click the hyperlink because you don't have this file, but you can write this down. Or again, this is found in the information package, the PDF file for the event this weekend, and you can access the WhatsApp chat group through the hyperlink there. Really important for everyone, whether you're a coach or an athlete. At no point should participants ask questions over Zoom. It is a live competition, so we ask that you limit your questions to the chat group, so that we can deal with whatever issues arise through that means. So please, if everyone can be mindful of making sure that we have a smooth live stream. Whatever questions you have or issues, technical issues, obviously are common. A lot of them we've experienced before, namely last year. So they should be relatively easy and quick fixes. So just upload your question, type your question to the chat group, and we'll get it sorted out. When signing into the Zoom link, please ensure that your account is properly named to reflect the competitor's name. This is important. So there is a naming convention. So the name, your gal ID. So that's all in the package. If you can just refer there. If you'd like to put in your province, you can. But most importantly is the athlete name and your gal number. Okay. Please sign into the Zoom link no less than 15 minutes before your scheduled division. The committee members will communicate the competition status via WhatsApp. So again, the competition schedule can be found on the W competition website, which I'll show you in just a moment. When you look there are scheduled times. So these are obviously estimated times. Hopefully we'll stick to it as best we can. However, if there are any delays or if we even happen to be ahead, which does happen, we will communicate that. So please be ready. No less than 15 minutes before you are up to compete. Before being admitted to the Zoom chat or the Zoom room, the ring coordinator or the Taekwondo Canada staff, they'll carry out a brief inspection to ensure the correct athletes are in the room, in the waiting room, that they're wearing the proper uniform and belt, as well as no other prohibited accessories or devices. So if you're wearing any jewelry or earpieces or anything of the like, that will be checked prior to competition. Only competitors are permitted to enter the Zoom room. So if you have a parent who wishes to follow along, a family member, just please ensure that it's just the competitor. You're free to use another account, but again, when you log in, change your name to reflect whoever's competing, and only that person will be admitted. If you have friends or family, any grandparent, an aunt, an uncle who wants to follow along, they can follow the live stream. So the YouTube link, and that's also in the package. The final point at the bottom, that's the hyperlink to the website where you can follow the results. So I'll just show you that very quickly once I get in. So I'll stop sharing and open that up. So if you've gone into the website, this should be familiar. If not, this is where you can follow the results. So when you click in, you'll see pretty much what we see. The schedule for both days are listed here. So when you click into the actual event, the 2022 Nationals, you can click into Ring Schedule, and it'll show you the schedules, the estimated times for Saturday and Sunday. You'll see that we have freestyle up at the beginning. These are pre-recorded videos. Again, we're starting at 9 a.m. Eastern time on both days. So we'll begin with the freestyle divisions on Saturday, as well as Sunday. Okay. So the actual live competitors will likely be admitted sometime before 10, ideally. Okay. So please be ready to go sometime around, again, 9:45, 9:40. The earlier the better. Just so we can account for everyone. If we're able to begin faster, that's sort of the goal. So if everyone is in the waiting room and we're ready to go, and we happen to be a few minutes ahead, then we will start, as long as everyone is in there. Otherwise, we will follow the scheduled time. So that's the ring schedule. The draws and brackets, you can click that tab, and it'll bring you to each division. And once the competitors are finished, so once the scores are done, once the referees have entered their scores and the scores have been announced, they will be posted here. You'll notice that it'll show all 0.00 right now, because we obviously haven't started competition, but once we do, they'll be uploaded here. So you'll see the breakdown of technical and presentation for freestyle, and for recognized, you'll see the breakdown for accuracy and presentation, as well as the final score. If there are any tiebreakers, then those will be dealt with according to the WT competition rules, and those results will be announced as well. So I hope that's pretty straightforward. Again, for those of you who competed last year or followed last year's event, it's the exact same format. Nothing major has changed really in terms of the methodology or the even the judging, the scoring criteria. So I will go back to the technical meeting presentation, and we can resume. Does anyone have any questions on the website?
Daniel, there's quite a list of questions in the chat if you want to just sort of scan through that.
Oh, okay. Maybe I'll do that afterwards.
Okay.
Okay, so online POOMSAE competition rules. For those of you who've competed in the last 2 years, I think most of you have, you'll notice that we've had to make some modifications because we're obviously not in person. So in terms of major accuracy deductions, accuracy is accuracy. When it comes to an online format, obviously we have to take into account people's space, the lighting, in and out of frame, etc. So these are the considerations. There isn't anything new. These are all listed in the competition package, but these are sort of important. So please note the next few slides. So 0.3 major accuracy deductions, what will give you that? For example, an athlete who doesn't have adequate space to perform the POOMSAE, and you have to take an extra step. So each extra step accounts for a major deduction. Each hand or foot movement that can't be seen by the judges due to stepping outside the camera view. So if I'm punching and my fist, I can't see it, I see the rest of the arm, but just the fist is out of frame, then that's a 0.3 accuracy deduction. Each hand or foot movement which cannot be seen by the judges due to poor lighting, either backlighting or lighting too bright. So if I've got a big lamp or a big light fixture, let's say in the ceiling, and I do a kick and I can't see the foot, and that's relevant because I need to see whether you're kicking with the ball of the foot or the instep, for instance. Then that would be a 0.3 deduction for each hand or foot movement that can't be seen. Each stomp or key up that cannot be heard by the judges due to the competitor not having his or her microphone on. This is important, so please check your equipment, make sure your audio and video are in good working order, and be mindful of that. 0.3 deduction can also result from the final score due to being over time. That will be announced by the ring captain. Oops. So if you're over time, then the appropriate deduction will be applied. What would give you a 0.6? So if you are performing the incorrect designated POOMSAE, you've all seen the POOMSAE draws. That's coming up in the next couple slides, but make sure you know which one you're competing or which POOMSAE to perform. If you happen to start off with the wrong one and it results in you restarting, then we'll stop the time. We'll put you back in place and we'll resume the competition, but 0.6 accuracy deduction will apply. Also, if an object, a person, or a pet comes into the field of play during your performance, that will also give you a 0.6 deduction. So if you have, let's say, a dog or a cat or a small child or anyone, just make sure that for the duration of your performance that you don't have any interruptions. Some of you might be in gyms, some of you might be competing in your homes, some of you may be competing in other locations. Just please be mindful of that. Anyone who moves the camera during the performance to capture the athlete, just make sure that your camera is stationary. Otherwise, it will result in a 0.6 major accuracy deduction. Also, giving you an accurate 0.6 deduction is wearing the incorrect tobok or belt. So please make sure you are wearing the correct corresponding uniform as well as belt. So this is most relevant in cadet junior divisions, for instance. So if you're a cadet athlete and you are competing in the cadet division, make sure you're wearing the POOM tobok, so the red and black, as well as the POOM belt, which is also the red and black. So please be mindful of that. If you are in a U60 division or higher, make sure you are wearing the yellow uniform. It's just the same color, top and bottom for both male and female, and a solid black belt. I don't anticipate seeing any POOM belts for the yellow uniforms, but just a reminder. There are instances of disqualification. This is primarily due to technical issues like internet connection issues. If wherever possible, I do recommend that you are hooked in with an Ethernet cable, so you are on a landline as opposed to Wi-Fi. But I know sometimes that's not always possible. So if it does occur where you do start the POOMSAE and your internet disconnects and we're not able to see you, then you will be given 5 minutes to fix your internet connection and return to the Zoom room. That is a maximum of 5 minutes. That doesn't necessarily mean that you'll be given 5 minutes. So what I mean by that is if you are back in 2 and you're ready to go, then we will go as soon as practical. So please fix your connection issues, and you'll obviously be given time to do so. Hopefully that doesn't affect your WhatsApp connectivity. So if your phone or device happens to default to data, in that case, then please check the WhatsApp chat group. Going forward, other major accuracy deductions, 0.3 deductions, each out of frame movement. So these are specific to freestyle POOMSAE. Again, freestyle POOMSAE are pre-recorded videos. They're not live, but they are judged live. So if in the video, the pre-recorded performance, there are any out of frame movements, there is a 0.3 deduction applied for every out of frame movement that would come out of the technical score, as well as a 0.3 deduction from the final score for any under or overtime instances. Some additional notes for folks. Ensure that your camera is not set to mirror image. That's happened in the past. So make sure it is standard. Sometimes I don't know if a mirror image is standard on some devices, but just double check. We don't want you to, or the competitor to start off a POOMSAE in the right direction, but what we're seeing is the opposite. We can only judge, what you see is what you get. So please make sure that that doesn't happen. The camera, again, must remain on a stable platform for the duration of your performance. The video must not be captured by someone holding the camera, which may cause a shaky transmission. So make sure it's on a stationary platform. If you have a tripod, that's the best. If not, I know people who've used matters in a stack of books or something like that. Just make sure that it's not moving for the performance. Avoid backlighting wherever possible. Just avoid any sort of deduction scenarios. Just like in-person events, no virtual backgrounds, religious or political displays are permitted. Um, uh, if you're competing at home, for instance, you might have a piece of artwork up on the wall, maybe a nice rug hanging somewhere. That's fine as long as there's not, anything controversial. So if you do happen to have anything like that, then please cover it up or you can take it down. That's what we're looking for. For the purposes of online competition, there will be no consideration of start and end positions for recognized POOMSAE. That's to say, if you end in a different spot from where you started, normally a deduction would apply, major accuracy deduction. But because everyone has different competition venues, whether again it's the gym, your home, outdoors, it's difficult to sort of discern. So there are no deductions for that. So attached here, the POOMSAE draws are found in a PDF document on the Taekwondo Canada website. The designated POOMSAE are also on the W competition website. So in each category, the website that we just saw earlier, you can see for each division which POOMSAE, let's say U30 individual female, what they're performing for the semifinals. Those POOMSAE are shown on the website, and they'll also be shown on the in the live streams screen at the bottom. So this is here. So if you'd like to take a picture of that, I'll give you a few moments to do so. This again is the same document or the same POOMSAE draws that you can find on the Taekwondo Canada website. So we have semis for junior male, cadet female, junior female, and U30 female. And all other divisions will go straight to finals. Just a note for everyone that we will be using the cutoff competition system, the method for all recognized POOMSAE divisions. So please be mindful for the U30 and U40 individual divisions. It is cut off for all divisions. Okay. And finally, these are our latest interpretations that we've covered for the last few online events. These are actually updates that were post World Championships from 2018. We obviously didn't have an opportunity to have a 2020 World Championships. We are having one this year, for which this event is a qualification event. But in terms of recognized POOMSAE interpretations, these are the same. So I'll go over these quickly, and then we can go to your questions. So Pawi Milgi, the boulder push that we see in Shipjin, please make sure that it's 45 degrees and it's not straight. Okay, so if folks can see my screen, it's not here, but remember it's 45. 45 is the correct standard. Okay. Kumgang Momtong Maki and Tebek. So that is the simultaneous high block and the outer middle block. The separation is at the solar plexus and comes out. There's no crossing of the arms. Okay, so they both start at their starting points, and when they come up, so obviously they don't really have too much space, but make sure there's no crossing of the arms so that it's just from here and it goes straight out. So that's in Tebek POOMSAE. Tangyo Tokchirigi that you see in Tebek POOMSAE as well. This is specific to Tebek. We also see Tangyo Tokchirigi in Taeguk Palchang in Taeguk 8, but this interpretation relates specifically to Tebek POOMSAE. So again, right right from here, when we go into our pull, make sure that pulling arm comes up to the shoulder. Okay, so here, and you're doing your yapjirigi, your side punch. This pulling arm, the absence of that will result in a major deduction for accuracy. Moving on, the 멍게치기 for 평원 and Shipjin Pumse. So these are the elbow strikes. So which arm comes underneath? Okay. So in Pyongwon, if I'm going right, okay, if I'm moving right, then my right arm is down. Okay. If I'm going left, it's the opposite. My left is underneath, and I'm coming across. In Shipjin Pumse, the standard or the preference is to have, so whichever foot you're turning in, that is also the one that goes from down, but whether it's up or down in Shipjin Pumse, there is no deduction for accuracy as of yet. Excuse me. Um, so that is more of a preference. 몸통 헤쳐맞기 in Taeguk 7장, in Taeguk 7. So the middle breakaway. When you do the actual pulling motion, so make sure it's not too exaggerated, it's not a straight out. Okay, so as your body is moving forward, you just naturally extend your hands, and you follow through with the knee break motion. So that's in Taeguk 7. Eyesight is very important in all kicking techniques. So your eyes must follow where your foot goes. So if I'm doing a front kick, then I'm looking at the target. So whichever level. So whether it's middle or high, right? Kicks are always at a high level. So your eyesight should follow where your eyes go. Again, this is not going to be easily discernible in instances where the motion is towards the rear, where you're facing away from the camera. So you'll obviously be given the benefit of the doubt, but wherever it's seen, then there will be a 0.1 applied for those instances. 돌려차기, roundhouse kick, and center line in Taeguk 6장, in Taeguk 6. This is the same as before. So whether you use the abchuk, the ball of the foot, or the instep, that is the athlete's preference. And the center line is very important. So if that's the imaginary line, it has to cross that. So you have to cross that center line as you kick the high level target. So that is what I had to share with folks in terms of interpretations and what to expect. I will refer now to the chat group to see what questions there are. It seems like Brittany answered a few of them. I think most of them are technical or website related. Okay, if a disconnect happens and the athlete reconnects in time, do they restart the POOMSAE from the beginning? So if there's a disconnect, if there's a connection issue, however brief or however long, up to, again, a maximum of 5 minutes,
halfway through executing the POOMSAE and then they reconnect? Do they start at the beginning as long as they're in the 5 minute allotted time, or do
yeah,
they...
so yeah, I mean it's not like, I stopped here and then I'm not going to resume from there. We'll just start again. We'll treat that as a connection issue. So that'll
Okay.
be their one and only time.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir. Are flags considered prohibited political symbols? If they're in the background, I mean, I don't know if you want to provide any additional context, but flags in general, like if they're just up there in the gym, then that's fine. But if it's going to sort of send any sort of message, if it's just a national flag, I mean, a lot of gyms have flags of various countries around the world. I don't think that's an issue. It's just we're more concerned with any political or religious messaging or anything controversial that may go against uh, um, sportsmanship values. So um, I think that's fine. Um, Chiljeong, one more time. Which one are you referring to, Master Saul? If you're connected, if you're referring to that last slide, that. Sorry, go ahead, sir.
Yes, sir. We got disconnected while you're showing 태극 7장, the modify the movements. So if you could just show it to us one more time, I'll greatly appreciate it.
Sure. 몸통 해쳐맞기 here. So oftentimes it's a natural movement. So when you're moving forward, you're just going to extend your arms out. So it's not going to be a dramatic. Sometimes people go really up high, right? So it's just here as you're moving forward, your arms naturally go forward, and then you do the knee break and touchajirige. So this is all to say you're not reaching for the sky. Okay. This is the same application that the application interpretation that we had from last year. So I hope that answers your question, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the clarification.
You're welcome, sir. During inspection, will there be an opportunity for athletes to do a quick mic check? For example, just attendance or Kia live events. So we'll do what we can as we check you in. Generally speaking, the equipment check should be done on the athlete's end, but obviously when you connect to a group, you want to double check and be sure. Normally, we're able to sort of discern that as we announce the players. So we'll let the staff and the ring captain deal with that as you enter the room. Maybe just a quick hi and is fine. Okay. So I think that's it in the Zoom chat for those who've
Mr.
uploaded
Park.
questions.
Sorry, Mr. Park, is that okay?
Yes, hello, Dr. K.
Mr. Park, when you were talking about coming into the Zoom room, and you were saying that the names should be changed. What if we're using like a club and one after the other coming in? It would be very hard to change the name of the athletes or a Zoom names. How does that work, sir?
So that is up to. So I take it you're using one camera for multiple athletes, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
So that's very easy to change on the part of whoever's account that is. So you just go into your name. So you have the 3 dots, and then you can change. You can rename. So if you want to follow along, it's a very quick fix. And then as soon as you make that change, that's what appears on the screen, sir.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Will someone be calling out the commands? Yes, that'll be yours truly for tomorrow and Saturday or Sunday. So I will be the ring captain and the coordinator for both days, and I will be giving instructions. So before each division, there will be a quick review of just a very, very quick overview. And there will also be, during the downtime, you'll see a screen shared on Zoom. It'll give you some just some basic reminders and best practices. But yes, you will be guided. You'll follow along. You don't need someone to make the commands for you. You just come, do your performance, follow the instructions, and you're good to go. Can I get a deduction because of a noise coming from the next door shop? So as I mentioned, people are going to have various places of competition, whether it's their gyms, their homes. ideally pick a suitable location. I think things are a little bit better now this year than last year, with a lot of restrictions lifting. Obviously, we do have quite a bit of variation amongst the different provinces, but please try your best to be in a suitable location. Again, like I said earlier, what you see is what you get. We can only judge what we see and hear. So if that residual noise prevents us from hearing a stomp or a keyop, then unfortunately that's going to be something beyond both the referee and the competitor's control. So if it's just something light, then that's fine. But I don't know if you're able to find another venue, sir, or another appropriate location. I think that would be best. Would wearing a mask be okay? Yes, that's not a problem. If you're competing in a gym and you still have mask criteria, or you're in another location that requires masking in place, absolutely, that's fine. As long as we may ask you to remove your mask at check-in just to make sure that you are who you are, but that's okay. So those are the questions I see from the Zoom chat. I'll open it up to the floor for those who wish to ask a live question, if there's anyone. Going once. Going twice. Okay. Oh. Do I see? Nope.
I have a question. Sorry.
Yes, go ahead.
Linda.
No problem.
Sorry. We are going because of the different time zone and all, right? So what time, like if I'm to compete at 2 p.m., what time should I be checking in? Like at the facility where I'm going to be doing the video presentation?
Well, you should be ready to go at least 15 minutes prior to your scheduled start time. Again, that's Eastern time for folks outside of the Eastern time zone. But like I said earlier, please follow the WhatsApp chat group as well as the W competition website, because the results, you can kind of follow along and see if we're sort of on schedule, behind schedule, or ahead of schedule. Ideally, let's say we are ahead of schedule and everyone is in the waiting room, then we will begin. But we won't begin otherwise prior to the scheduled start time. So as to when you need to be at your venue, the earlier the better.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. One more question. Can there be?
Yes,
yes, sir. Go ahead.
For the double elbow strike, you said the direction you're going, the arm comes underneath this way. So if I'm stepping to the right direction, it'll come underneath.
Which poomsae are you referring to, sir?
For
Kyungwon poomsae, sir?
Sipjin.
Sipjin, it's either or, sir.
That'll
be your preference. Yeah, I don't think WT has clearly decided that item yet. I anticipate by Worlds or our following Worlds that will be done. But in Pyongwon poomsae, the direction. So if I'm going right, then my right elbow is underneath. Yeah, and vice versa for going left. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sir. Can there be spectators in the background who are not in the field of play? That's fine as long as they're not within view and they're not making noise. That's not a problem. So I hope that answers your question. Okay, so if there aren't any other questions, I wish everyone the best of luck this weekend. Again, you have the Taekwondo Canada team, the staff that will be readily available to answer questions. I will try to field questions wherever possible as well. And I will be also hosting the event on the live stream. So again, good luck. Great to see everyone again, albeit online. And I hope you have a smooth and successful weekend.
And before we all run away, thank you very much, Daniel. So Alan's now going to cover a bunch of information as we're getting updates about the events coming up. so that everybody knows, to the best of our knowledge, where we are right now with that ever-changing information. So, Alan, do you want to take it away?
Sure. Kate, can you allow me to share my screen?
Amira, oh, Daniel, can you do that?
Mr. Daniel?
Amira, are you able to give Alan co-hosting abilities?
Yes, Master.
Of each athlete in each division, like who's going first, second, third. Is that will be after this published?
You can find that on the website, sir. So
Okay.
the order of competition as well as the times are all found on there. So I shared that website. That website link is also in the package, and you can find it there. And if you don't have any questions, you can upload it into the chat group, and we'll answer it there.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
All right, perfect. I think I'm good to go here. You're good, Kate?
Yep.
Perfect. All right. So, hi, everybody. I'm Alan Wrigley, the High Performance Director for Taekwondo Canada. And what I want to be able to go over right now is just providing a heads up for what the process is going to be at the conclusion of the event, because the National Championships also comes with an opportunity for those that qualify to represent Taekwondo Canada at the Pan American Online Poomsae Championships, as well as the World Taekwondo Poomsae Championships in Goyang, South Korea. So one of the things we'll go over first is a bit of a process around the World Championships that are happening in April. So in terms of timelines, all individuals, pairs, and teams who would like to participate in the event must attend a mandatory Zoom meeting on Sunday evening at 6 p.m. Eastern. That's at the conclusion of the event. At this time, individuals, pairs, and teams are going to have to declare whether or not they want to accept their nomination to the national team. So the way the selection criteria works is first place in each of the World Championship categories would be offered the spot on the national team. And if they decline, it goes to the second place team as an option, or second place individual. And if that person declines, then that event just stays open. We won't send anybody. The reason why this has to happen that evening, so people are aware, is there's very tight timelines that we're under, which is why Nationals was moved in the first place in order to allow the entry process to get into the event. So just to kind of be clear about how that's going to work. The deadline for our submission for all completed documentation to Taekwondo Canada is going to be March 7th. And that completed documentation, we'll go over that on the meeting on Sunday night, but it is quite extensive because of the fact that we have a number of requirements through WT, the organizing committee, as well as some forms and stuff we need through Taekwondo Canada. Some of the things that people need to consider as you're getting ready to compete and deciding what you want to do. I think if you're interested in participating at the World Championships, you need to start thinking about some of the planning that's going to go into that now, because it's going to have to happen pretty quickly at the conclusion of the event. So some important considerations we want to go over: costs. Unless otherwise stipulated, all costs to participate in the event are responsibility of the participant. And accommodation expenses will need to be reconciled with Taekwondo Canada. The way that the accommodations options are provided, there's 3 different options. We are strongly encouraging people, when you fill out your documentation for selecting what accommodations you want for the closer locations. There are 2 locations that are within a very short walk to the competition venue, and 1 20 kilometers away. And right now it's just difficult with the event information package to determine how transportation things are going to work. There's not a lot of information around a COVID protocol, so we're just not really 100% sure how everything's going to work on the ground there. So being closer to the competition venue makes it a little bit less complicated. Other important considerations right now, all visa-free entry into Korea has been suspended. which includes Canada. So Canadians right now need a visa to enter Canada, to enter Korea. But Canadians are not eligible to apply for a visa right now because of, again, the COVID restrictions that are currently in place. So what you actually need is once we enter you into the event, WT and the organizing committee will provide a letter, an invitation letter, and that's the invitation letter you need to bring to, if you're in Ottawa, to the embassy or to a consulate in order to apply for a visa. You need that actual invitation letter from the organizing committee to get a visa. Everyone needs to understand that the processing time we've heard from the embassy right now is up to 2 weeks or more in order to get a visa application processed. So it's something you have to consider that's if you're not in Toronto, Montreal, Ottawa, or Vancouver, then you're going to have to mail them in. So you have to add in the mailing times and stuff like that. So again, making sure you're thinking ahead and planning accordingly in order to get that visa in time in order to travel to the event. The other important considerations is at this point, and we've been told it's due to the presidential election that's happening in Korea right now, they're not going to be updating the quarantine requirements around the event. They do not have a quarantine exemption at this point from what the most up-to-date information we have. And there's currently a 7-day quarantine period for individuals entering Korea. Part of the information package you will get on Sunday night, if you're interested in attending, is a quarantine waiver application that we do have from the organizing committee. So this is not about the event itself having a quarantine waiver, but it's about the individuals. And so each individual is being asked to apply for their own quarantine waiver, which would allow you to enter Korea without having to isolate for 7 days. You can go straight to your hotel after PCR test and then take part. But again, one thing is just to be aware is the quarantine waiver. If you get a quarantine waiver certificate, it's only good for 7 days. After 7 days, you have to get PCR tested again in Korea in order to apply for 7 more days. And at 14 days, it ends and you have to immediately leave the country, is how the requirements are being outlined right now on through the embassy website. The other piece around the quarantine exemption certificate is that would only be issued about 1 week before your travel date. So there's going to be a bit of an unknown process around that, whether or not you're going to have to isolate or not when you first get there. And again, all this is subject to change if the next 2 weeks, the quarantine restrictions and COVID restrictions change. All we can do is provide you with the information we have right now. The last few considerations about this event and are specific to COVID-19. And again, these are COVID-19 specific complications considering the current restrictions both Canada and Korea are operating under, which are going to likely change. But participants that are with minors, that are minors, must travel with a responsible adult. And I think one of the things you have to consider is what is your plan if either that minor or our responsible adult test positive at any point during the competition, because if they have to go into isolation, what's the plan for who's supervising the minor, what's actually happening? So you do have to be considered, and I would say be cautious if you're either coaching minor athletes that wish to participate in the junior cadet divisions, or you're a parent or a minor yourself. This can create significant travel problems. And so making sure that each individual has an appropriate responsible adult with them in case there's some issues around COVID testing. They have been really clear with the host organizers around hotel costs. In order to register for the event, we have to book and pay for the hotel. If the quarantine exemption isn't granted and you do have to isolate for 7 days, there is no refund on your hotel and you still have to pay the government's fees for staying in a facility. So again, that's just a consideration to keep in mind with the booking process. In order to meet the WT timelines for entry into the event, flights will have to be booked before we know if there's a quarantine exemption in Korea. I believe the presidential election is on the 9th of March. The deadline for all the documentation is by the 10th, which coincides exactly with the presidential election. So there's likely not going to be, we've been told there likely won't be an update on government requirements until after that, which means hotels need to be booked, flights need to be booked, and everything needs to be paid for before we kind of know what the event's going to look like from a quarantine requirements perspective. And again, we've worked as hard as we possibly can to try to have this clarified, but at this point, there's just a bit of a gray area right now around the event. And just, again, be aware of it. And the last thing I want to bring up about COVID is the event itself doesn't really have a COVID protocol in place. They have requirements for testing outlined, PCR testing on arrival, daily antigen testing. But in terms of what happens if you test positive during the event on one of those antigen tests, there's no information provided yet on a COVID protocol because they're waiting for the government to update what their COVID protocols are going to be for events, which will not happen until probably mid to late March. So just want to make sure that these sorts of things are out there and you're considering and kind of putting this thought together around what you want to do in terms of committing to a team and putting out a lot of money and looking to travel. Again, I can't say enough for what Kate and Brittany have done in terms of moving heaven and earth to get this event changed so that we have an opportunity to send a team. But being able to do that has also kind of created some other sort of issues because we just don't have a lot of information from the host organizers because of the current situation in Korea. Okay, so that covers the World Championships. The next thing is quite a bit simpler, but much shorter. Is going to be those that qualify for the national team selection for the Pan American Online Championships. So again, everyone's aware. Again, let's shout out to Kate for pulling all the strings and pulling favors to get an exception for Canada to enter late into this event. This was very unexpected. So it's a super great opportunity that Kate has actually made happen. So the video submission deadline to PATU is March 2nd by midnight Eastern. Associated video links for those that are qualifying and participating in the event will be shared by Kate on Monday, February 28th. So with that mandatory team meeting on Sunday, you'll have to also declare whether or not you want to participate in the Pan Am online tournament as well. And if you do agree to take that spot, then Kate will send you the video link the following day. And then you'll be responsible for making sure you upload that video by midnight, March 2nd. All costs associated with participating in the event are going to be, again, responsibility of the participant. So in this particular event, it's going to be the entry fees. Invoices for the participant registration fee will be sent out on Monday, February 28th, and the payment will be due by Tuesday, March 1st. And again, everything is happening within a 3 to 4 day window when the competition is happening. So we just have to kind of accelerate our timelines and our coordination organization. And the last piece we want to bring up is that everyone needs to be aware that when you do record your video to submit to the tournament, uniforms for the event must be the new official uniform with the WT logo, country code on the back, and flag on the sleeve. And again, with the timelines from nationals ending to videos being submitted, we can't provide uniforms to the athletes. It's just not physically possible to get that out in 48 hours. So some of the things that I would say to consider is that if this is a tournament you're interested in entering in, I would consider potentially filming before nationals if you had the opportunity or not. I know it's a little bit harder now. We put that out last week to give the heads up, or start looking towards how you put together a plan for getting that done on Monday, because it is a very tight turnaround on time. I think that covers all the key things that I wanted to bring up, and we'll go into more detail. The meeting on Sunday night is going to be specific to the actual detail of these. We'll go over the forms, we'll go over the documents, we'll go over the process, we'll go over all those considerations, costs involved, all that kind of stuff. We didn't want to overburden everybody with that before our national championships, but we also wanted to make sure that you were starting to think about these things because you're going to be asked to put some plans and logistic things together pretty quickly. So I think the more informed you are and the more of a heads up you have, hopefully next week it becomes much smoother for those that are looking to participate at these two events.
Thanks, Alan. You've got some questions for you in the chat.
Documents, Brenda. Okay. First one is, I guess, the visa. You do not need a visa. You need the visa to enter Korea. So you need that visa in your passport before your departure flight. So so the visa is about entry. There is a quarantine exemption application you'll have to have completed on the 7th, and we'll provide that to you, as well as a guideline from the organizing committee in terms of how to fill that out. But the visa is based off of the deadline for that would be whenever your departing flight is. Documentation will be shared on Sunday night. All of it will be shared that night, as well as we will go over all of them so people again are aware. I think Brittany can probably correct me if I'm wrong here, but there's going to be 7 or 8 different things you have to complete and submit. So we want to make sure, and if it's not complete and if it's not all done, then we can't enter you into the event. So we have to make sure we're very clear on that and you understand exactly what that checklist is. So for the March,
That's the same one. Jump down to
same
the
question. Okay.
PCR.
So would having a PCR test in Canada prior to travel be acceptable? So there are 2 things, 2 aspects to that. Yes, you do need a pre-departure PCR test. That's in the event information based off of entry requirements into Korea. That has to be done within 48 hours of your departure. As well, when you land in Korea, you will be taken to, they call it a government residential facility. I don't know what it is more beyond that, where you have to get PCR tested again, and you're not allowed to leave that spot until your PCR test comes back negative. If it comes back negative, then you can proceed to your hotel and go check in. That's providing that there is a quarantine exemption in place. If there's not a quarantine exemption, again, you may have to go into a quarantine situation, but we can't answer that question because there's no information from the Korean government or the organizers until that gets settled with the Korean government in March. So there is 2 PCR tests, 1 you're responsible for pre-travel, 1 you'll get through immigration when you land, and then allowed into the competition bubble. There is a recording protocol for Pan Ams, and the recording protocol would be in the event information that is available through Simply Compete.
Yeah.
I got that right, Kate?
You did.
I'm literally, I think I'm 10 days past 3 months on the job, so I'm learning a lot about how the system works here. But I think I described that accurately.
Yep.
Yeah. So just as a follow up, because in the past, it's Belinda here. Nice to meet you, Ellen. In the past, we have draws, right? In terms of you have the name of the event, and then you have the POOMSAE name, and then the name of the athlete and the number of the draw. We don't know our draw number at this point. So I'm just saying, okay, maybe we can do the event name, the POOMSAE name, and the athlete name, but we don't know the draw number. Is the draw number required in terms of recording protocol? Because we don't know at this point.
Alan, I got you.
And if you, yeah, if you are asking us to do the recording before, given the nationals, right?
Right. So right now, Belinda, so I get a link, which I'll forward you, and it's got in here, view your division list. This is not your division draw. Upload your video here. How to record the video with Apple. How to record it, etc. So it's the same information that's in the Simply Compete document, but it doesn't actually say anything about having to have a draw number. And I've worked very hard with these guys to get you guys
You're
in.
amazing.
They will, well, it's very much a team effort. And so they've been very good. So I'm not worried about that. I got you covered. We're good.
Thank you, ma'am. Can you send a link in this chat to all of us? Thank you.
Nope, because I have a separate link for every single division and nobody's made the team yet.
Okay, great. So
but thanks for asking.
Film until then.
No, I'll
Okay,
do the best I can to get you guys the links on Sunday night, depending on how long it takes. But it's a separate link for every single division. And so once I know who's in what divisions, then it's just me clicking forward and then you should be off and running.
Okay. My next question is on the chat. There are 2 international airports near Goyang.
Yep.
And is there a preference as to Taekwondo Canada? Yeah,
Incheon. Just fly into Incheon. It's only 25 minutes away. It's the only major international.
Yeah, I agree. More flights there instead of the other one.
Yeah, just fly into Incheon.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's definitely the easiest route. And I think, Belinda, I think it's actually the question you just asked there with Kate and then asking for the link highlights exactly the sort of the constraints and why we want to have this conversation now before we get to Sunday night. So you're aware that it's going to be tight and it's going to be a lot of work of making sure these links get out to the right people. And there's really nothing we can do until that team is picked. So unfortunately, that just puts everything on a very condensed 72-hour timeline. But again, we'll try to provide as much clarity and information as possible, as much as we have, so people are making informed choices, informed decisions, and you're not committing and putting out money to rent a facility or putting out money to book a hotel or book a flight or these kinds of things without at least knowing as much as we know. We want to make sure that everything we know, you're going to find out, and we're going to tell you so that you can make an informed choice and make that decision yourselves. Awesome. Any more questions either from the chat or anybody want to?
Hello. Hi, Alan. This is Joe Ridley here.
I like the last name.
How are you? I know we're pretty close. They used to call me Wrigley from the gum, I guess. You probably got a lot of that when you were growing up, I guess.
Absolutely.
So my question is about the teams. Maybe you guys mentioned it. I'm sorry if I missed it. Are there going to be teams, like say under 30 female team, under 30 male teams, and how will they be selected for the like 3 ladies competing in the team? Is there going to be selections there, or if so?
It's based off the team that participates at nationals. It's the team qualifies through nationals.
Oh, okay, got you.
Yeah, it's based on the selection criteria on the Taekwondo Canada website.
Okay, thank you. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's all I needed to know. Thank you.
No problem. Any other questions? Okay, well, appreciate everyone's time. I will just maybe say one more thing. Dr. K, it's great to see your face because we've talked on the phone and it's just nice to be able to see and chat with people. So hello.
Yes, sir. Same here. Thank you.
Thanks, Kate. I'm good. I think we have everything. We're good to go until Sunday.
Perfect. Thanks everybody, and thanks to W Competition for being so flexible and flipping things up 2 weeks ahead with us. For Daniel moving mountains to be able to make it work to be with us this weekend, to the referees for stepping up, to the athletes for understanding the positions that we're in. And it's really, it's a pretty special community. And I'm very grateful for everything that everybody's done to make this happen. So thank you very much, guys. And
thank you, Kate, for all the work guys done. Master Park, Alan, and David, really appreciate it. I know that you guys went all the way, so we appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We will see you all bright and early, bushy tail tomorrow morning. Don't forget your coffee.
Love you.